All right, everybody, welcome to today's Better Than a Classroom edutainment session on scorpions. That one creepy crawly that none of us really want to find in our bedroom. Well, maybe some of us think that'd be cool, but no, none of us do. And of course, once again, before we get started, thanks again to everybody who's helped support this. We want to give you the info because people ask, and hopefully you find it. The virtual tip jar info Zelle. You can Zelle us at payment@wildmanphil.com, or if you're a Venmo person, wildmanphil, all one word, capital W, capital P. And if you like to use PayPal, you go to presentations@desertwildlife.net. Once again, do want to thank everybody that has helped support this and helping us to keep it going, and hopefully everybody enjoys this. I want everybody to learn a little something here. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. Well, as you already know, I'm Wildman Phil. And as most of you know, I live in Arizona, southern Arizona, where we're known for our scorpions. People come to Arizona, they kind of expect to see scorpions. I run into people all the time. They go, hey, I want you to know I've been shaking out my clothes, shaking out my shoes, making sure there's no scorpions in them, and they're staying in a hotel in the middle of downtown Phoenix. Okay, it's not an issue there. But you've probably heard stories about scorpions being in houses, being out in the wild. And yeah, if I'm out camping, if I'm out researching, and I'm going to be spending time in the desert, I'm definitely going to shake things out in the morning because scorpions, yeah, they like to hide. We have a lot of different types of scorpions here in Arizona and in the United States and, of course, in the world. In fact, on the entire planet, there's approximately 2,000 species of scorpions. We don't have all those here in the United States. In fact, in the U.S., we only have about 70 of them. And here in Arizona, we do happen to have the largest number of species of scorpions of any state, with just over 60 species of scorpions. We're excited about that. Well, okay, you don't see it on the Chamber of Commerce website or the Travel Bureau information or anything, but we do have a lot of different scorpions. We're not the only place that has them, though, but, excuse me there, we do. So, with that being said, we not only have the most scorpions, the largest amount of scorpions, but here in Arizona, we are actually home to the largest type of scorpion in North America, found right here in Arizona. This is, whoa, calm down, Sparky Doodle. This is, can you see that? That's called a desert hairy scorpion. This guy is not full grown. This is actually medium-ish for a desert hairy scorpion. The desert hairy scorpion has all of the scorpion parts, though. It has pinchers in the front for grabbing its food, kind of like a little crab. It has, how many legs? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 legs. It's an arachnid, so it has 8 legs, just like spiders have 8 legs. The scorpion has 8 legs too. But the scorpion then has the tail. And if you look very closely on the tip of the tail, you may see the little black stinger on the tip of the tail. That's the dangerous part of the scorpion. If you were to mess with a scorpion out in the wild, he's going to straighten that tail, he's going to stick you with that stinger, and of course, it's going to hurt. But is it going to kill you? Well, it depends on the scorpion, depends on the person. This particular one, not going to. In fact, the desert hairy scorpion, even though it's the largest and scariest, it's actually the least dangerous scorpion we have in the United States. In fact, the desert hairy scorpion here, now I did have a lady once who asked me that. She told me, she said, yeah, I know that it may not have a very strong venom, but it'll scare you to death. So either way, you're in trouble. I get that. By being big and scary, most people and animals are going to leave it alone. But the venom in here is actually not as bad as a bee sting. You're way worse off to get stung by a bee than to get stung by a desert hairy scorpion. Now, that doesn't mean you want it to happen, but we'll talk about what happens in just a minute. Because the scorpion, you have to know, doesn't have the stinger just to attack people. That's the important thing. So the scorpion is out there using a stinger to kill its food. He finds a cricket, a cockroach, a beetle, whatever it is. He's going to try and eat it. He's going to grab it with the pinchers and then sting it if he needs to. Now, this guy's big enough, when he grabs a little cricket, he doesn't even have to have a strong venom. A lot of times doesn't even sting it. Now, a smaller scorpion that has a stronger venom, he's smaller, so when he grabs that cricket, it'll drag him around the desert. He has to have a stronger acting venom to kill that food, and that's what that stinger's for. But he will use it for protection, as I mentioned. You mess with a scorpion, he thinks you're trying to eat him, he's going to protect himself. Now, I don't suggest eating scorpions, all right? Unless you have some good garlic butter dip, because it's they're made for dipping. You dip them in. No, I'm kidding. Don't really ever eat a scorpion. That's pretty gross. But animals do try to eat scorpions. There's a number of animals that will try and eat a scorpion. Lots of birds. Other scorpions will eat scorpions. Things like tarantulas, centipedes, a lot of the mammals and things that would love to try and eat this guy. So a fox or a coyote finds him, he wants to eat him. Well, he doesn't want that to happen, so he stabs him with his stinger. But the good news is scorpions are nocturnal. That means they come out at night. I come out usually during the day. Most of us do, which means we're out when he's sleeping and he's out when we're sleeping and we don't see each other. And that works out pretty well. It's a pretty good relationship if you think about it. But being that he comes out at night, he's going to be very hard to see. In fact, this is what a scorpion looks like at night. Pretty scary, huh? All right, we'll put the light back on. Wanted you to see. That's what a scorpion looks like, and you're not going to see him. Oh, but wait, if you're equipped, you can. You see, scorpions are very interesting because scorpions, their skin actually glows under ultraviolet light. That's right. Scorpions are super cool because they glow under ultraviolet light. And if you happen to have an ultraviolet light, some people know it as a black light, you can see scorpions very easily at night. How many of you want to see how that works? Yeah, if you want to see this guy under an ultraviolet light, well, I happen to have one today. So, what we'll do is, I've got my ultraviolet light here. This guy is about like this. I've got the black light here. Let's go ahead, and when darkness falls across the desert, he looks like this, but with an ultraviolet light, pretty easy to see, right? Yeah, you can see that scorpion glows very brightly underneath the ultraviolet light. Now this guy's glowing this kind of radioactive ooze yellowish green kind of color. Different scorpions glow a little bit different colors depending on, well, their actual color and such. Now of course you're wondering, well, wait a minute, why does the scorpion glow under ultraviolet light? Nobody knows the real answer for that. There's been a lot of theories and things, but nobody's ever figured out what good it does to scorpion. And of course, it's only been about 10 or 15 years since we found out what makes it glow, and that is a few of the properties, some of the proteins in the skins that actually reflect the ultraviolet light for us to see. But what good does it do them? I don't know, but I know what good it does me. It's very easy to find this guy at night out in the desert, or if we're in the rainforest, wherever scorpion is. I can't find him with a regular light, but I can very easily find him with the ultraviolet light. But let's go ahead and look at him in white light again. When the sun comes up across the desert, this is what the scorpion looks like here. And once again, I don't know if on those close-ups you could see, he's called a desert hairy scorpion because he does have little tiny hairs all over him. And that's where we got the name. Now, scorpions, they are arachnids, but they're the only arachnids that have live young. They don't lay eggs like spiders and mites and ticks and all kinds of different things. Scorpions have live young, and when they're born, the babies crawl up onto mom's back, and mom actually carries them around for about a week or so, depending on the species. Now, some scorpions will have 10 babies. Some will have 80 babies. And all these babies are hiding on the back, and the mom then is carrying them around and protecting them. By the way, they don't glow under the ultraviolet light until the first time they molt their skin. See, being arachnids, being arthropods, as they get bigger, they outgrow their skin, so they have to grow a new skin in and so on. But the babies on her back don't glow. They're on her back, and she doesn't glow very well under the ultraviolet light at that time. But this is the largest and least dangerous scorpion we have here in Arizona. But we have other scorpions as well. Now, before we move on to the next scorpion, is there any questions about the desert hairy scorpion that you want to know?
Jenny's asking, what does the backside look like?
What does the backside look like? Like the top of it or the back, like bottom?
Bottom.
Let's go with seeing if we'll show you the bottom of this guy. Let me pull it out here. Here's the bottom of the scorpion. I don't know if that helps you any. There we go. This bottom is very interesting. If you look very closely at the bottom, you might see right around in here somewhere, it looks like two little feathery things maybe. Those are actually sensors that they feel when they're walking on the ground. They can actually feel the ground, and they can kind of smell or taste, if you will. Well, it's kind of like the antenna of an insect, but he's got little feathery ones. That's also the way you can tell a male from a female in a lot of scorpion species, is because of the size and the shape of these little There you go. I think you can see him pretty well there. So there's the bottom of the scorpion. Very good question. And this is a good example of showing off the scorpion because of its size. Smaller ones can't always see that stuff. Another quick question.
Michael's asking, do they use their pinchers as defense?
They do. And we're going to see that in just a minute with another scorpion. That's their first line defense. Put those pinchers up. They can use those. And of course, with the tail up over there, you're busy trying to figure out what do I need to watch. In fact, one of the things you might have noticed when I hold that scorpion, let's do it again. We may see this with another scorpion later, but let's go ahead and look at this guy again. If I'm holding this guy, I try to hold him where he can't get me with a stinger. Now this, of course, is not something I suggest anybody going and trying at home. All right, I very rarely do it at home. I usually do it in the middle of the desert or other people's houses. No, don't do it. All right, I'm a trained professional. I have been stung doing this. It's not something you all want to try. But by holding it by the pincher, he can't, or by the stinger, I mean, he can't use that stinger and stick me with it. And by tilting him to where he's on my hand, he wants to hold on. But if I rotate him, what his normal action is to flip himself over and kind of curl his tail. Well, when he does that, he can then pinch me with those pinchers. And if he reaches up and pinches me, what's my first instinct? To let go. But then he's holding on and the stinger's free and he can stab me with it. And it takes a lot of practice and mental aptitude to be able to remember, don't let go when it pinches. They also don't hurt very much when they pinch, at least this species. So, one more question if we've got one.
And then he's asking, do they have eyes?
Yes, they have eyes. We're going to see those a little better on a species coming up. But let's see if you can see those eyes. They actually have eyes in a few different places. Scorpions generally have 6 eyes. But the one that I want to show you next is another one from right here in Arizona. This guy, of course, sleeping because he's out. It's during the day. But what I want to do is I want to put this guy right down in this little container here. So let me see if I can get him to come on out. And there we go. We can get a good close-up of this guy running around a little bit there. Pretty active, pretty fast. This is the infamous bark scorpion. And the bark scorpion is the most dangerous one in Arizona. This is the only one that's considered potentially deadly to humans here in the United States. And the bark scorpion got its name because if you listen carefully, it makes a little barking like a dog. Okay, that was me. He doesn't really make barking noises. He's called a bark scorpion because he lives under the bark of trees. In fact, if I put a little piece of bark in here, he'll probably just stop moving around and hide. There we go. He's like, good, I like to hide there. That'll calm him down. I can pick that up, and we can see him a little bit better as well. They're climbers. They climb up onto trees. They like to hide where the bark is peeling back a little bit, and there's a little tiny crack. Then they can hide under there, and it works out very well for them to stay nice and safe during the day. But because they climb, they can be up in trees and on rocks and walls and ceilings. And yeah, this is a guy you don't want to find in your house, but you might. He can crawl up and come in an open window. He can sneak down in and try and eat the bugs in your house. And of course he is eating the bugs, the crickets, the cockroaches, the beetles, but he's not something you want to accidentally put your hand or foot on. Because we mentioned those scorpions can sting, and they will. Now, you don't have to purposely mess with him and try and harm him, but he thinks if you mess with him, that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to touch him with the tongs here and see how that stinger gets changed into position, ready to go, and then up over the top there. As soon as I get close, oh, look at that stinger going, and then he's off running. That's what he wants to do. But let's say you're out camping. You take your shirt off, you lay it on the ground next to your sleeping bag, and in the morning, you grab that shirt and you put it on. Well, in the night, scorpions were moving around looking for food, and come daytime, he wants a nice tight place to hide. The folds of a wadded up shirt are perfect. He hides in there, you put the shirt on, he then is going to think you're attacking him, he's going to protect himself, you're going to get stung. Now, what happens if you get stung by a scorpion? That's what most people want to know. Okay, most people that ask me about scorpions, that's what they're asking. They're asking one of two things. First off, what happens if I get stung? We got a quarter in here so you can see the size of him compared to a quarter. Let me see if I can get this guy to move over and hide under this little log a bit for us. There you go, buddy. Oh, sorry. Yeah. There you go. He's looking on the log. They're not going to trick me, Wildman Phil. I know that you're trying to put me to sleep so you can look at me better. I'm going to put him under here just a bit. There we go. Let him calm down and hide. And then out again. Look at that. Oh, there we go. We'll get him on the... There we go. I think we can see him pretty well. He's going to move all over. He's a very, very good climber. Climbing around pretty well. But we're talking about what happens if you get stung, and what are the chances I'm going to get stung, and how do I not get stung? That's what we all want to know. First off, I cannot tell you exactly what would happen to each individual person if you were to get stung by a scorpion, because scorpions have a type of venom called a neurotoxin. And that neurotoxin is a venom that goes through your body and attacks your nervous system. And so it affects people a little differently. Now, it is very painful. Everybody I've ever talked to that's ever been stung by a scorpion says it feels like a red-hot needle being stuck in you. Hot, fiery, burning sensation. I don't know if any of you out there have ever been stung, but if so, throw it in the comments. Tell us, is it true? Did it feel like that? Oh, and after that, it kind of depends on the person. Some people get real weak and slow down and laid back. Others, they get real excited, jittery, talk a lot, move a lot, that sort of thing. But you're probably going to feel nauseous. That's pretty common. You'll probably run a fever. Fairly common as well. And one of the things that freaks people out that's pretty common is the fact that getting stung by a scorpion will sometimes cause a tingling sensation at another opposite part of your body. And like you get stung in your hand, but your leg tingles or your lips tingle, and you're going, what's going on here? That's just crazy. The scorpion venom has a different effect on the person. Interrupted sleep is another problem, and that sort of thing. So what do you do if you get stung? Well, you watch it, because most people that end up in the hospital here in the U.S. from a scorpion sting are actually there because of an allergic reaction to the venom, not the actual venom's effect on them. It's kind of like a bee sting. Most of us, it's not a problem, but if you're allergic to it, you get stung, yeah, you're in the hospital. Same with a scorpion. Of course, you don't know if you're allergic until you get stung, right? And nobody wants that to happen. So what do? Well, you watch for them. You be careful. If you find a scorpion in your house, get it out of there. Of course, you having a black light's pretty good for finding them. And I know some people that live in houses out in the middle of the desert. They kind of look around at night, make sure there's no scorpions during the time of the year when they're out and about. Yeah, that's a good idea too, I guess. But really, most of us aren't going to end up having it be too much of an impact. But you know what? This guy, he's from here. He's the worst in the United States. But of the 2,000 species of scorpions in the world, about 30 to 40% of them are lethal to humans. Yeah, that's not the majority of them, but it's a pretty good number. But luckily for me, those ones are found in other parts of the world. In fact, the next one I want to talk to you about is a scorpion that is actually lethal to humans. This scorpion is actually from the desert, but he's not from the deserts here in the United States. But before we get on to this guy, I need to know, is there any questions about the bark scorpion from anybody who lives where they might live? So, throw me a couple of questions real quick.
Alana's asking, how old can they get?
How old can they get? Most scorpions live 2 to 6 years. I know that's a pretty broad span. And of course it depends on the species. It depends on the amount of food, the weather, the number of predators, and all sorts of different things. But very good question. Scorpions live about 5 years-ish in captivity. That's what we can get. All right, got another question coming up though.
Donna's asking, what's the best way to relocate a scorpion that's safe for both the scorpion and the person?
Oh, well, the best way to relocate a scorpion is to catch it and take it out somewhere else. That's actually the safest. Now, how do you do that? You don't grab your tongs, you don't use your fingers, you don't do it Wild Man Phil style. If I find a scorpion in my house, I'm going to grab some kind of container, preferably a little cup-like thing, maybe like this. Or, you know, not all of us have these kind of things. So I grab a cup from the house and I put it over it. If it's on the wall or on the floor, it's very easy to cover it. And once we cover it, then you can take and put a piece of paper under there, or maybe a piece of cardboard. If you have something that you can slide under, you'll push the scorpion onto the top of it and then be able to just flip that over into the cup and then take it out somewhere. Now, I just got to thinking I should have a piece of paper. I could show you that. Whatever, you get the idea, right? If you need, well, another question though.
Danny's asking, what are known predators for the bark scorpion?
Oh, bark scorpions do have a number of predators. Centipedes and things like vinegaroons and stuff, they eat a lot of scorpions. But really, a lot of birds will as well. We have some nocturnal birds. Bats eat scorpions, especially our pallid bats and our leaf-nosed bats and things like that. So there's actually a number of things that will eat a bark scorpion. They have to be careful, of course, because of the stinger and the venom. But there's some very efficient predators out there. One more question.
Season's asking, how do you keep them away from your home?
How do you keep them away from your home? You live there for a long time. Actually, if you don't have bugs around your house, then they're going to not want to be there because they won't have any food. So if you are living somewhere and you have the bug guy come and he kills off all the crickets and the cockroaches and the moths and the beetles, and you get it, then there's not going to be any food for the scorpion. Of course, some people go, oh, is there special stuff we can put out? I've heard there is. I don't know. I don't get to try it because I have these animals and it would kill them in the house if it worked. But the best thing is to just kind of seal your house. That keeps them from coming inside, and get rid of any of the other bugs if you're really worried about it. Very good. Now, with that being said, I want to talk about a scorpion from Africa, from the deserts of Africa. And this particular scorpion that I want to show you next is one that, well, there's a reason I live in Arizona. You see, this guy here looks a little different. This is an African ground scorpion. The African ground scorpion that you're looking at here will get a little bit bigger, but he's mostly full grown. And, well, you can see he looks a little different. He's got the black on his tail here. He's got some black here. And if you look very closely, you might be able to see the little stinger there. Whoa, he's showing you the little pinchers there. Look at that classic scorpion position right there. Now, the African ground scorpion you're looking at is actually, yes, dangerous enough to kill a human. Yes, I could let him sting me right now and I might die. But I'm not going to do that. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, you're looking at that going, wow, that looks like every other scorpion. Yeah, that's why you have to know your geography and understand. Because this thing here, stinging a human, you're going to end up in the hospital. You could end up dying. And, of course, not something you want to have happen. Oh, look at, he's going, oh, look at me kind of guy. Look at that. You got the pinchers going. And, yeah, well, let's go back over there. Now, I know some of you go, well, you just said that thing could kill you. Well, this one is also not super aggressive. There are certain species of scorpions that are more aggressive than others, and any individual, like in people, some people are, you know, more different from others, some more aggressive, some not, some super calm, some get bothered easily, some don't. But that's the case here. This particular one, he's actually pretty cool. I could actually, well, maybe I'll show you. Let him walk across my hand there. Now, why is he not stinging you, Wildman Phil? That's what I always get asked about now. Because he doesn't walk around stinging everything. He's not thinking he's on a human that's going to eat him. He's thinking, which is right, I'm not going to eat him. He thinks he's just walking along a log or a rock or whatever. Now, he does have his little feelers, and of course that helped him to be able to go back onto there you go, to kind of know what's going on, but I wasn't a threat to him. Now, I don't do that with just any scorpion. Notice I didn't do that with the bark scorpion, because the bark scorpion's fast, he's a little more aggressive, and just having him on my hand, I could get away with it, but what if he goes in and I move a finger and pinch him and he stings me because he's small? Then we have issues. But this guy here is one of those that actually is deadly to humans, and you're looking at it right here. Any questions about this guy before we kind of move up the scale here a bit? All right, well, since we're in Africa talking about interesting scorpions in Africa, why don't we go ahead and look at what a lot of you are thinking. 2,000 species of scorpions. This one's dangerous, potentially deadly. This one's deadly. What's the most dangerous scorpion on the planet? Some of you probably maybe know. Yeah. Any guesses on what the most dangerous scorpion, the most deadly scorpion on the planet is? Some of you are going, I think I've heard of that one. Maybe emperor scorpion, maybe bark scorpion. No, it's not. That would be this guy here. This is very aptly named. I'll get him down out of here for you to see. He is, stay in there. There we go. We dumped him in there so you can see him a little easier. This guy that kind of looks like a desert hairy scorpion or a bark scorpion, maybe. Nothing that makes him look too super dangerous. He does have the little black, but not on the tip of the tail, but on the neck segment. This is called a death stalker. That is very aptly named, the death stalker. This is a young death stalker. He'll get upwards to about 3 or 4 inches long, so about twice as long as he is now. And yeah, he's a little bit easier to see when he's bigger, especially with that ultraviolet light. We totally forgot to do everything under the ultraviolet. I'll show you this guy because he's also, like any scorpion, going to glow. In fact, let's go ahead and do that right now. You can look at the death stalker under the black light. So there's what he looks like in the wild in the dark. Look, if you have an ultraviolet light, he looks just like any other scorpion. Now you're looking at a glowing death stalker. Not everybody gets to see that every day. Yeah. So the death stalker, like any scorpion, he has his stinger, and his venom is produced in the last segment of the tail. All scorpions have 6 segments to their tail. Some are bigger, some are smaller, but they all have 6 segments, and the venom is produced in the very last segment. Let's go ahead and put this guy in natural light again. The sun is up. And now we can look at him. I don't know if you can actually see this guy being so small very well. Oh, and if I touch him, he's fast. He reminds me a lot of our bark scorpion. I'm just glad that, you know, he doesn't have our bark scorpion doesn't have a deadly sting. But the death stalker, if you were to take like any scorpion, if he didn't have this last segment, he would be totally harmless. Now, he couldn't kill his food either. That's why he has it, remember. But a lot of people ask me that. What happens if they don't have a tail? Well, they probably get eaten and die. They have no way of protecting themselves. But the death stalker lives in the deserts of Africa. This guy here is one you definitely want to be cautious about. With that being said, any death stalker questions coming up?
How long does it take to kill a human?
Wow. About 24 hours is generally the case with scorpions and a lot of venomous creatures, actually. It's not something that, you know, you hear about these things sometimes. People go, that's called the 6-step scorpion. What? You get stung, you got 6 steps, and you're dead. Yeah, that's a great story, but not really true. The effects of it are usually about 24 hours, and that's about how long it would take to kill you. And it would be a miserable 24 hours.
Michael's asking, can they see the ultraviolet light?
Yes, they can see the ultraviolet light. That's a very good question. In fact, scorpions come out at night. They don't really like the sun. That's our natural ultraviolet light, right? And a lot of times, once you put an ultraviolet light on them, they'll try to move out of it because they think they're in daylight. So, very good question. They definitely can see the ultraviolet light.
Kathleen's asking, do lions eat them?
I really have never actually tried to feed one to a lion. I'm sorry, Kathleen. I'm guessing the lions are probably thinking, I'm going to go after something a little bigger. I know cats, your domestic cats, will eat them and seem to not have much of an effect from the venom on our locals anyway. I wouldn't know with a death stalker. I guess if somebody wants to bring their cat over, we could try. No, that's wrong. You can't do that. But lions would probably not mess with a death stalker. So
Danny's asking, can you survive a death stalker sting?
Oh yeah, people can survive. You're not definitely going to die. Don't get me wrong. It's like anything else. Some will live, some won't. Kind of depends on your body, the health that you're in, and of course the medical facilities that you have as well. Here in the United States, we actually have an anti-venom now for the bark scorpion. And it's super expensive, but it works. So if you are going to die, which in the U.S. we haven't had anybody die from a scorpion sting. And, well, we had one death in the last 50 years, and that was like almost 30 years ago now. So it's not something that's going to happen normally. You get to the hospital now, yeah, they do have an anti-venom for that. So the death stalker is a pretty interesting little creature here. We're going to see if we can show you the question of, we find this guy in our house, what do we do? If you find a death stalker in your house, you burn down the house and you move. No, you don't do that. You move, you get it out of here, and you find out which neighbor is letting their deadly scorpions loose. I'm going to show you how we'd get this out, though. So I got my little cup. I would take this guy and just kind of get him to go into the cup. And whoop, into the cup. Now we have the lid. And just like that, the death stalker is contained. Now, you don't want to put this on the counter with your medicines and stuff. You don't want to mix them up in the morning. Yeah, that's really a mess, okay? But you definitely get the idea there. But you know what? while we're talking Africa, Africa has some of the coolest scorpions on the planet, all right? And there's one that is very different, very strange, and you'll probably figure out when I tell you the name what makes this guy a little different. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can move him just a little bit here. And, well, as you can see, we have a scorpion that looks a little different. This guy here, how big is he? He's about that big. And that scorpion is called the African spitting scorpion. The African spitting scorpion. Yeah. He like hangs out with the llamas and they learn something. I don't know. No, he doesn't spit out of his mouth. Scorpions do have a mouth right down in here in the front. Oh, look at that guy. I thought I was going to feed him. You see, this particular one has a very good feeding response. And he probably might even show us how they're able to eat. And if so, you might even be able to see how weird the scorpion's mouth is. He doesn't have a mouth with lips like you and I. He has an opening with two little tiny serrated claw-looking things that cover the opening. And they grab a little piece and shove it in. And I don't know why you don't see that on more monster movies and sci-fi things. But I've got right here a little dinner. Yeah, a little cockroach. This cockroach right here, well, we're going to see if this guy is hungry. Sometimes I can take and feed him with the cockroach. Just down in here. Let's see if he wants to grab this. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, look at that. He's got it. And now he's trying to find an opening to sting it. Oh, on the belly. That's where you go. Look at that. Right underneath. The shell is a little bit too hard for the stinger, but the belly, oh, nice and soft. So there you go. You know who's going to win this fight. Yeah, this is why we like scorpions. He's eating a cockroach. Yeah. Now look at, he's grabbing with the pinchers and stinging with the stinger. Once again, find that soft spot. It'll go in. Boop, boop, sting it. And there you go. That's what's going to happen out in the wild. This guy's going to find a cockroach. He's going to think to himself, hey, I remember that human that was talking nicely about me. I don't want the cockroaches in his house. I better get rid of this for him. Okay, maybe he's not thinking any of that at all. But he's helping us. He's just thinking dinner. He's just thinking, I want to eat this thing. And look at him, just moving around, grabbing that thing. The cockroach is pushing and the fight is on. And sometimes the cockroach actually gets away. It ends up dying very shortly afterward because of the venom in him. But right now, I don't know. That looks like a little WWE action going on there. This guy's, I think I'm going to pin this scorpion. 1, 2, nope, he's not. Oh, now, oh, he's got him with the stinger good now. Yeah. So there you go. Now I know what you're wondering. Wait a minute, that's a black scorpion. That guy, what, does he glow as well? Well, of course he does. All scorpions glow under ultraviolet light. Now, you want to see something really crazy, makes you want to think we got a goofy little party going on. Remember, the cockroach does not glow under ultraviolet light, but the scorpion does. So what does it look like under the black light? Well, darkness is coming across the land, and boom! There you go. Oh, he glows just like the others. Kind of interesting to see there. Hopefully, oh, there we go. We can see it. If I put it right on, is that good? That's pretty good. And, this makes it even more interesting, doesn't it? Yeah, I know you're thinking, well, wait a minute. Do scorpions fight with other scorpions? Yes, scorpions will eat other scorpions. A bigger scorpion generally wins against a smaller scorpion. And, yeah, it's pretty interesting to watch them fight, especially if you happen to catch it in the wild and have a black light. Yeah, but they will try to kill each other, grabbing on, stinging, or whatever. And a big one is usually strong enough to overpower a little one. So, I think this guy here is looking pretty cool. I think the scorpion's definitely going to win here. But let's go ahead and leave him to his meal. Let's make it daytime again. And there you go. That's what happens. So, we'll go ahead and we'll let this guy sit there because I have another scorpion I want to talk about. By the way, I mentioned that he is a spitting cockroach. Well, kind of that's different. Anyway, there's actually hissing cockroaches, and we'll talk about those another day. But the spitting scorpion doesn't spit with his mouth, all right? His mouth is just this opening all the time with these two little claw things, and then he grabs little pieces and he shoves them in the hole and covers it. It's really weird, and it's very alien-like. But he spits out of his tail. he actually will have his tail up there. He's able to spray out of his tail. And of course, it's not something you want to get in your eye. It's not something you want to get in an open wound. And it's enough to keep most animals trying to eat them away. Can you imagine another scorpion who's bigger, getting close, going, I got a meal, and all of a sudden, he's shot in the face? Yeah, he's probably going to leave him alone. But I do have another scorpion I want to talk about. And I love saving this guy to the end because he's from Africa, but this guy's from the forested areas of Africa, not the desert, so he looks a little different. You see, instead of blending in on the sand, this guy doesn't have to worry about that. You see, this is the largest type of scorpion on the planet. That's right, this is the emperor scorpion. And the emperor scorpion got its name because it's the emperor. That's right, the king of all scorpions. Let's get this guy right into here. By the way, let's turn over this way here. And there we go. The emperor scorpion, you'll notice, has these very big claws. He has very powerful claws. And that's because he doesn't have a very strong venom. He's the least toxic scorpion on the planet. His venom isn't going to do very much. Now, you can see his tail pretty well. I think we can see that stinger on there pretty well. Yeah, that thing is going to do some damage sticking into you, but he would rather use his claws. And this guy is that one that if something comes up to him, yeah, he'll put his stinger up, but the first thing he wants to do is attack with those claws. And those claws can pinch pretty hard. And in fact, there we go, got him grabbing onto the wristband there, trying to get my arm. No, not the arm. There we go. Yeah. In fact, these guys are amazingly strong on how powerful they have. Let's see if, there we go. Oh, there we go. He's holding the tongs with his pinchers right there and spinning them around like some cool, goofy wind chimey thing. Yeah. We're going to be selling scorpion tong wind chimes afterward on... No, I'm kidding. We don't do that. But you'll see he's holding on. There we go. He let go. This is pretty heavy. It's heavier than the scorpion, but he can grab on and hold it tight. So when this guy finds a cricket, a cockroach, a beetle, a mouse, yeah, he's going to grab it. He's going to kind of crush it with his claws. Sometimes he'll sting it, but not usually. He'll use his claws to crush it and then eat it. Now, if we look very closely, this guy's going to be hard to see. There's a little bump right in here. Boop. There's some eyes right there. He also has some eyes here and here and here. In fact, it's a little bit easier to see his eyes under the ultraviolet light because he changes color. In fact, I know you're wondering, wait, this scorpion, he's going to glow that slime ooze green. Well, let's see. This scorpion, under the white light, looks like this, but when darkness falls across the land, he disappears. And, whoa, he glows under ultraviolet light as well. Now, if you look closely, you might be able to see his little eyes. He actually has a little bit of reflection there of the ultraviolet, but you can kind of see where those eyes are at. And can you see the mouth? See that little mouth part right there? Let me point out here. Let me get Isaac. Why don't you have this black light for me real quick? Keep it on him. I'm gonna find. Oh, that's Stalker. Nope, that's tongs. Okay, so you look right there. Can you see that in there? That's the mouth. See, that's like two little chompy claw-looking things. It covers an opening. So he grabs that mouse with these pinchers. He crushes it up, and then he holds it. That's tongs, not a mouse, but good idea. Then he pulls it up there, and those little things just grab pieces off and shove it down inside. And, of course, as he eats a lot, he actually gets thicker. In fact, let's go ahead and go back to white light here, and we'll see what I'm talking about. Look at the skin on the side of this guy. Let me flip it over this way here and give him a little freedom back. There we go. You can see how it's a different color right through here. This is actually very soft. You see he's kind of armor plated here and very soft on the side because he's stretched. This guy's in captivity. And yeah, it gets to eat quite a bit and very well. So it's going to have to stretch. So that's why it's nice and fat right now. Now a female, when she has babies inside her growing, will get big and fat as well. and then end up, of course, having the babies like anything else. But it works out very well. So, real quick, do we have any questions on the emperor scorpion?
Michelle's wanting to know if we could see the emperor eat a roach.
I don't know that it's gonna. It's really full right now, and because I was handling it, it's gonna be thinking more defense than food. But let's see. We'll put it back in here. Well, it's gonna be hard to see in there. We'll put it here, and not let it know that it can crawl right out of there. Let's go ahead and see if it works. Why not? We're scientists. And don't be, super upset and surprised if it doesn't. Wait. You gotta stay in there. There we go. Yeah. Stay. Yeah, that's how you train a scorpion. You don't really. So let's see if this guy is gonna want to eat. You want it? Yeah, he's just thinking that's my finger. He's not thinking food. Now, he's like, wait, that thing moved, see? And that was all totally defense there. That was pinch whatever it is that just came into my face, but he's not thinking, I'm going to eat this thing. But, of course, we probably have another question. Let me get this guy put back away here. Because, nobody wants to see it crawl on my face or anything, right? Okay, just making sure. But we do have some questions and things coming in real quick.
Donna's asking how much and how often do they eat?
Well, it depends on how much as to how often. Once again, like a lot of things, they don't find food all the time. In captivity, we feed them twice a week. This guy will eat 4 or 5 crickets twice a week. Now, if we give him a mouse, that'll hold him for a week or so, and we don't have to feed him as much. Oh, that's finger you pinch. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions coming in before we wrap it up?
Michael's asking, could obesity be a problem for scorpions as pets?
Not as much as with other animals. They won't, they get so full, like this guy's not going to overeat. They're made for doing that, and then they'll go ahead and hide, having their food digest, and then go out looking for more food. So it's not like some creatures like the pythons we talked about yesterday, or pigs and things that, given the chance, can overeat and be overweight all the time. Any other questions coming at us?
Ian wants to know how many babies can they carry on the back?
It depends. Like an emperor scorpion here, they usually have about 15 or 20 babies. Bark scorpions, they'll have about 30 or 40. I've had scorpions we found before that have had over 75 babies on them. And it's just amazing to see these things all piled up on top and start counting through them and go, oh my gosh, now there's another one. So a lot. There's your good answer. One more question.
Kathleen's asking, can they hear?
Oh, very good question. Scorpions cannot really hear. They can detect sounds, but it's not that they can differentiate between sounds. It's one of those things that loud racket, it might go, hey, what was that? But really, it's kind of like you being able to hear with your ears covered up with a bunch of different coverings or something. It's not going to work very well. So, with that being said, let's look at this guy and see if he's actually got a chance to eat his cockroach yet. We'll go ahead and he's got it in the mouth. He's not holding it with the claws anymore. You'll see the cockroach is done moving, and now it's just wanting to go hide somewhere and eat his food. We could probably go ahead and we'll just roll with that as we kind of do our end credits here. I do want to thank everybody for watching again. Once again, if you want to throw a couple of bucks this way so we can buy some more roaches, that would be great. Of course, once again, if you Zelle, it's payment@wildmanphil.com. Venmo is wildmanphil, all one word, capital W, capital P, and PayPal presentations@desertwildlife.net. I've had a few people ask about Wildman Phil merchandise. Well, our website isn't set up with a merchandise page because we usually just sell them at the shows. But if you're interested, we have t-shirts, we have 3 different DVDs, we have bracelets, rattlesnake heads that light up, rattlesnake eggs, gag gift things. We have a lot of different things. Drop us a line in the comments or drop an email to store@wildmanphil.com, I think. I'll check on that. But definitely let us know if you're interested in that. But as soon as we're all able to go out and about again, I'll make sure everybody knows where the live show is going to be so we can hang out and have some fun. And with all that being said, thanks again to Brave Wilderness. Thanks to Coyote Peterson and them for being such big supporters of us. And thank you to everybody who has supported either monetarily or helping out with some food. Big House Cafe helping take care of the alligators and the turtles with their donation of meat and so on. We thank everybody that's helped. Hope you guys enjoyed watching another Better Than a Classroom edutainment session.